For decades, the British royal family has been shrouded in mystery, opulence, and scandal, but few figures within its storied history have attracted as much controversy, disdain, and outright hatred as Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, whose fall from grace has been as spectacular as it has been disturbing. For here was a man born into unimaginable privilege, the son of Queen Elizabeth II, once celebrated as a handsome war hero, a jet-setting prince with the world seemingly at his feet, yet over the years, through a mixture of arrogance, entitlement, and catastrophic choices, Andrew has transformed from a respected royal into a reviled public figure. And what makes his story both tragic and infuriating is not simply the missteps he made but the brazenness with which he acted. The way he seemed to believe that his position as a son of the Queen would shield him from accountability. But history has shown us again and again that the higher the pedestal, the harder the fall, and Andrew's descent into the abyss of public opinion has been relentless. Beginning with whispers of inappropriate behavior, ballooning into high-profile scandals involving money, power, and sex, and culminating in what many have described as the single greatest disgrace to ever rock the modern monarchy. For at the heart of this hatred lies his infamous friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted sex offender whose empire of exploitation ensnared the rich and powerful. And while many distanced themselves from Epstein the moment his crimes came to light, Andrew clung to him with a loyalty that seemed both baffling and damning. Being photographed together, staying in his mansions, even strolling with him in Central Park long after the world knew exactly who Epstein was. And when confronted about it, Andrew's response was not contrition or humility but a disastrous BBC interview that became an instant case study in how not to handle a crisis. For in that now infamous 2019 Newsnight interview, the Duke of York appeared aloof, defensive, and utterly detached from reality, insisting that he had no recollection of ever meeting Virginia Giuffre, the woman who accused him of sexual abuse when she was just 17, despite the existence of a photograph showing Andrew with his arm around her waist, standing alongside Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's partner in crime. And if his denials weren't shocking enough, his bizarre explanations bordered on the absurd, claiming he was at a Pizza Express restaurant in Woking at the time of the alleged encounter. A detail so oddly specific that it instantly became the subject of ridicule, while his insistence that he could not have sweated during the alleged incident because he had a medical condition preventing him from perspiring sent shockwaves of disbelief through audiences around the world, cementing his reputation not as a victim of circumstance but as a man hopelessly out of touch with the seriousness of the allegations against him. And it was in that moment that public opinion turned from suspicion to outright hatred. For what people saw was not a man trying to clear his name with dignity but a privileged prince arrogantly believing that he could talk his way out of scandal with flimsy excuses. And the fallout was immediate and brutal. Charities cut ties. Organizations severed their associations. And the Queen herself was forced to strip her own son of his royal duties, military titles, and patronages, effectively exiling him from public life. And while Buckingham Palace tried to soften the blow by framing it as a mutual decision, the truth was plain for all to see. Prince Andrew had become a liability to the monarchy, a stain on the royal brand, And as more details emerged about the millions of pounds reportedly paid out in a settlement to Virginia Giuffre, money speculated to have come, at least in part, from the Queen's own private funds. The anger only grew, because to many, this was not just about Andrew's personal disgrace but about the institution of monarchy itself appearing complicit in shielding one of its own. And even as Andrew retreated into a life of seclusion at Royal Lodge, shielded from the public eye, the hatred never subsided, for people remembered his years of arrogance before the scandal, the lavish lifestyle funded by questionable business dealings, including his notorious ties with unsavory foreign regimes, his habit of hobnobbing with dictators, oligarchs, and shady billionaires who seemed more than willing to pay for his access and influence, and all of it painted a portrait of a man who believed the rules never applied to him, who saw the privileges of royalty not as a duty but as a shield. And that is why, even today, long after he has been stripped of his royal duties, long after he has disappeared from the palace balcony and official ceremonies, the hatred toward Prince Andrew burns brighter than ever, because it speaks to something deeper than one man's failings. It speaks to the public's disgust at unchecked power, at unearned privilege, and at the arrogance of a prince who thought he could live above the law, and in the end, Andrew's name has become synonymous not with service or dignity, but with disgrace and shame. And as the monarchy struggles to reinvent itself in a modern world, his legacy will forever remain a cautionary tale of how the mighty can fall, and how sometimes, even a prince can lose not just his titles but the respect, trust, and love of the people. And if you found this story as shocking as we did, make sure you subscribe to Hollywood Vault 8 AM, where we bring you the hidden truths, scandals, and untold stories of the stars and royals you thought you knew, because in Hollywood and in royalty, the brightest crowns often hide the darkest secrets.